Hey everyone, it's True! Back at you once again with another top 10 list. So here we are at the start of 2019, and with the rest of the entire year to go, let's look at which games seem the most promising and which are worth getting excited about. There's no rules as such for this one, except that this list is in no particular order. So we can just jump straight into it. So hit it! Anthem! Anthem being a success has a lot more riding on it than you'd think. Yes, we're all hoping it'd be a successful game because successful games are generally good to play. However, this game's success also has BioWare's fate attached to it. BioWare hasn't exactly been doing well for itself over the past few years. Dragon Age has taken a hit, and we, or at least I, still haven't forgotten the dreadful flop that was Mass Effect Andromeda. But Anthem is the new IP, and I for one am interested in seeing what this game is like, and I hope it does well for itself in the end. The formula sounds like it's been done before, with an emphasis on teamwork and monster hunting, but you get these cool flight suits, and apparently superpowers too, so it'll be interesting to see how this one turns out, and hopefully, it won't spell the end of BioWare. Cyberpunk 2077. And while a lot of game developers these days are reluctant to admit that their glory days are behind them, CD Projekt Red doesn't have this problem because by far their best game was pretty much the last title they released, or at least the last mainstream title they released. So the developers of the Witcher series are moving on to new grounds and have chosen a setting that is, well, given the title of this game, I'd say that's pretty obvious. From what I can gather, this is going to be what would happen if you crossbred The Witcher with something like Shadowrun. And since both of those franchises are awesome, I am certainly looking forward to this one. It's a cyberpunk RPG where all of your choices, down to what you're wearing, is going to affect how NPCs talk to you, and apparently there's going to be an emphasis on hacking as well. All in all, this is certainly a game that's going on a lot of people's lists, as it is going on mine too. Shenmue 3! The beloved series is said to be coming back this year with the long-awaited third entry, and while I will say that I'm very skeptical about this, as I can see it being delayed another year, I am, however, interested in seeing how this game has changed from the previous two. Shenmue was one of the first games to include a realistic, open-world setting with an in-game clock where you could only do certain things during certain times of the day, and with an emphasis on martial arts and quick-time events. Shenmue 1 and 2 were extremely well received, and despite the fact that both have aged really poorly, the third entry now has the chance to bring this into the modern day and possibly blow us all away with something fantastic. I'm going to keep an open mind regarding this one, but I'm also going to be keeping that open mind with a pinch of salt, and I'd advise you to do the same. Kingdom Hearts 3! I'm gonna be honest with you here, you guys know I don't like this series, so I'm personally not gonna be getting this one. However, I can't deny how huge the Kingdom Hearts fanbase is, so it's gotta go on this list. This is going to be the third main entry into the series, and it's actually set to release very soon. The story is about... On second thoughts, I'm not even going to attempt that one. Sod it, I'm not the best person to talk to about Kingdom Hearts, so whatever. The third one is coming out at the end of the month, and if you're into it, then I'm just letting you know it's coming out. Skull and Bones! I think we can all agree that Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag was an amazing game. But only for the pirating side of it. The Assassin's Creed parts of that game were rubbish. But the game was hailed as a success, and thus, Ubisoft went on to destroy that with Assassin's Creed Rogue, but whatever. Now, while this would suggest that Ubisoft cannot be trusted to go back to this series, I'm probably just as surprised as you are when I say that they're making a non-Assassin's Creed naval game, but this time, they're paying attention to detail. Or at least that's what it looks like so far. Skull and Bones is a completely new IP that focuses on gunpowder-based naval battles in the Indian Ocean. From what I can gather, you can upgrade your ship, board others and capture enemy ships and claim them as your own. However, and just as a warning, I did notice on the wiki page they'll be adding in microtransactions in at some points, so I totally get if you don't want to play this game because of that. I'll be waiting for reviews to come out anyway before I decide if I'm buying it or not.
Mambo number 5.
Psychonauts 2! The first Psychonauts was a really charming and kind of disturbing game that should have met with critical praise, but ended up being tragically swept under the rug. But not to worry, Tim Schafer is taking another crack at it with a sequel that's set to come out this year. With the psychic headquarters warped into something that it's not, it's up to Raz to find out what the gosh darn is going on, through presumably wacky and trippy scenarios that we got to see last time, but weirder. Not much has been revealed regarding the actual gameplay, but I'd imagine it's another puzzle platformer involving psychic powers. Still, it's worth to keep an eye on this one if you do enjoy Double Fine's other works. Metro Exodus! Also, definitely on my list of games that I'm going to be getting this year, and I know I'm not the only one watching this who's thinking the same, but the third installment of the Metro series is coming out this year. Set a couple of years after Metro Last Light, we pick up the story with Artyom as he decides that hanging around in the Moscow Metro along with mutants, Nazis and communists just isn't worth it anymore, and so he's decided to up and leave with some of his squad for pastures new. I'm hoping that this will give us more time above ground, as I always love the resource management side of that, where you have to change your air filters regularly in order to survive. The last two Metro games were really fun to play, and I'm hoping that this keeps up in the third entry. Just no more hand-holding from NPCs anymore, okay? Animal Crossing! I know that some of you at home have probably been saying, Animal Crossing better be on this list when every entry begins, so here you go. The new Animal Crossing is coming out this year. Though I don't agree with the title of this one since it's just Animal Crossing, nothing else, it does mean that we'll be going back to the usual gameplay of harvesting pretty much everything to the point where the local area should be a barren wasteland, but it's not for some reason. Or digging up every plant and then replanting them in your front garden, just cause. Or hoarding as much junk in your house as you can while you make friends with your neighbours, and then visiting your friends' towns and harvesting all of their resources too. Just watch out for the Tanuki Mafia while you're there. Bayonetta 3! Since Nintendo are keeping this series locked in their basement for the foreseeable future, this means that this will be another entry I don't get to play, but don't mind my tears. Anyway, Bayonetta 3 was announced at the end of 2017, and it's quite possible that we'll be seeing it come out this year. This series has always been way over the top, with huge sexually suggestive themes while you're slamming your opponent's head into the ground, but it's still thoroughly enjoyable nonetheless, with the first game being held by many, myself included, to be one of the best hack-and-slash beat-em-ups ever. However, I'd imagine that this series is now at the point where it's running the risk of getting stale, but hopefully, Bayonetta 3 won't turn out like that. And if you're the proud owner of a Nintendo Switch, then keep your eyes out for this title because it's probably going to be one hell of a blast. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. The Last of Us Part 2! The Last of Us came out all the way back in 2013 and topped the list of almost everyone's top game of that year. It used the tired setting of the zombie apocalypse that was done before that game came out, but is still visited today for some reason, only this time, the focus is on the emotional bonds between the two leading characters, that being Joel and Ellie. While the sequel has been announced, and though there's not a set date yet, so we'll possibly see it come out next year instead of this year, there's still every chance it could come out this year, considering that Naughty Dog has just finished with the latest Uncharted title. Both of the main characters are coming back, with the player controlling Ellie this time round, and I'm hoping that we'll get to see the consequences of Joel's actions at the end of the first game come to light in this one. Naughty Dog do good games these days, and the first in this series was a smash hit, so there are big expectations for The Last of Us Part 2, and therefore, The Last of Us Part 2 makes it in at number 1 on this list. Even though it's in no particular order. And that's a wrap for this video, but if you happen to be in no particular order, that doesn't even make sense, then like this video and hit that subscribe button, which also makes less sense. Don't forget that I'm on Twitter, where I announce which video is out next and when, and I'm also on Patreon if you'd like to support this channel further. Anyway, have a great week, and I'll see ya on the next video. Fuck, I messed up that line.
Life is killing me. I swear sometimes I